What if the first light of day brings more than calm to Heartland, but a choice that could change the ranch forever? The sun lifts over the hills and lays a soft gold across the fields, while breath from the horses hangs in the cool air like thin smoke. Amy stands by Spartan with a gentle hand on his neck, feeling the steady beat of a friend who has seen every storm with her. She speaks in a calm voice that smooths the morning like a brush on a coat. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Today we try something new, Spartan. She leads a young chestnut to the round pen, a rescue with sharp eyes and a skittish heart. The gate clicks, the chestnut flinches, and Amy waits. She does not pull, she lets the silence teach. Trust her breath matches the horse. Her steps are slow and honest. Spartan watches with a quiet wisdom, as if telling the newcomer that this place is safe if you let it be. From the house, Lou steps onto the porch with a tablet in her hand and worry in her walk. She scans the yard like a mayor who sees more than fences and hay. She sees schedules, budgets, promises she has a meeting in Hudson in 2 hours, and the town wants answers about a road plan that could reroute traffic past Heartland. She hates the idea, yet she knows the pressure. Her phone buzzes. With a message from a council member, she types a firm reply, then pauses because the smell of coffee and pine reminds her that she is more than a title. She is a sister and a daughter in a home built on second chances. Inside the barn, Jack checks the latches on the stalls and tests a loose hinge with a thoughtful grunt. He hums a tune that has no name, just the shape of memories. He sees Amy in the pen and nods to himself. That girl has her mother's patience. He thinks. He glances at the sky and reads the thin line of clouds drifting in from the west. Weather might turn later. Best to move the herd to the south pasture by noon. He makes a mental list: feed, delivery, fence, check, pick up parts in town, and maybe a cinnamon roll if he can. Escape without Lou noticing. A truck door shuts near the drive, and the sound carries across the yard like a small bell. Katie races past with a laugh, chasing the barn cat who never allows a fair chase. Tim arrives in a burst of energy with news about a rodeo sponsor and a plan to host a training clinic here. He talks fast, then stops when he sees Amy at work. He tips his hat and lowers his voice. He knows when to let quiet do the heavy lifting in the pen. The chestnut begins to soften. Each circle grows smoother, each glance lasts longer. Amy steps back, offers space, and the horse follows her like a leaf on a calm stream. She reaches out, and the muzzle meets her palm. It is a small miracle, but at Heartland, small miracles are the bricks of every day. She clips on the lead rope and walks to Spartan between two steady friends. The ranch breathes with them. Fences creak, swallows stitch the sky, and somewhere a wind chime gives a single clear note. The morning feels simple, but under that calm a question moves like water under ice. Will today keep this peace, or ask the family to fight for it? The day does not stay still for long. The peace of the sunrise fades as the sound of tires crunching gravel breaks the quiet. A dusty blue car rolls up the drive, stopping just short of the porch. The engine coughs once, then dies, and for a moment no one moves. The doors of Heartland have seen strangers before, but something about the pause in this arrival feels heavy. Lou lowers her tablet and Jack straightens his back as if his body knows before his mind does. A young woman steps out, holding a worn backpack in one hand and a folded letter in the other. Her boots carry more miles than her years, and her eyes move fast across the ranch as though she is looking for something she has not yet dared to name. Amy notices first. She sets the chestnut back in his stall and walks across the yard, wiping her hands on her jeans. Her voice is soft but steady. "Can I help you?" The woman hesitates, then clutches the letter tighter. "My name is Claire," she says, and her voice trembles as if it might crack on the next word. "I was told this ranch could give me work just for a little while." Jack studies her with the kind of silence that tests truth. He has seen plenty of drifters, some full of charm, some full of trouble. This one looks like both, wrapped in questions, but he does not turn her away. Heartland has always taken chances, even when it hurts. Lou steps closer, her mayoral mind already weighing risk against kindness. "We do have chores," she says, careful not to promise too much. "The stalls need cleaning. The tack room could use sorting." Claire nods quickly. Relief and fear mix on her face like two storms. Meeting at the ridge, she offers the folded letter to Amy, as though it burns in her hand. Amy opens it slowly, expecting a resume or a note of reference. Instead, it is a photograph of younger. Claire stands beside a smiling woman with long blonde hair. Wind tugging at her jacket, the back of the photo has one name written in faded ink. Marion Fleming. The weight of that name hangs in the air. Amy feels her chest tighten, her mother's shadow reaching across the years. Claire sees the shock and steps back. I should explain, she says, but her voice breaks. She does not explain, not yet. Instead, she asks for a chance to stay one night, just one, until she figures things out. Jack clears his throat and mutters, "Out. One night won't break us. Lou wants to." Protests, but Amy lifts her hand, not with doubt, but with a strange pull of curiosity. Something about Claire does not feel like a stranger, not completely. The horses seem to sense it. Spartan leans his head over the stall door, watching her as if he remembers a story she has not told. The blue car sits empty by the drive, and the wind pushes dust against its tires. The ranch has taken in another unknown, and unknowns have a way of digging roots fast at Heartland. What started as a quiet morning now feels like the first step into a hidden path that none of them chose, but all of them must walk. Evening light falls in long bands across the yard, and the air carries that restless hush that comes before supper, but the quiet does not. Reach inside the house, voices rise and fall, sharp enough to rattle the dishes. Georgie stands with her arms crossed in the kitchen, her riding boots still dusted from practice. She has just returned from training in Europe, and every word she speaks is edged with fire. "I can't build my future if you keep pulling me back," she says. Lou answers with the kind of firmness that makes walls feel closer. "This is your home, Georgie. This is your family, and family should come first." Georgie's eyes flash with the hunger of someone who has already tasted the world beyond Heartland. She loves the ranch, but love alone cannot chain her dreams. Jack leans against the doorframe, listening without stepping in. His presence is steady as stone, but his silence is louder than any shout. He knows the shape of this argument because he has lived it with Tim, with Lou, with Marion when she dreamed bigger than the land he wanted to keep safe. Family has always been both anchor and storm. He clears his throat. Finally, in the kitchen, Still's family is not about holding back, he says. It is about standing with each other no matter where the trail bends. Lou lowers her gaze. Georgie presses her lips tight. The air in the room feels heavy, like thunder waiting to break. At the same time, Claire sits alone on the porch, her backpack at her feet and the photo of Marion resting in her lap. She hears the voices through the walls, but she does not move. She feels like an intruder, a shadow at the edge of a story that was already written, yet part of her cannot look away from the warmth glowing in those windows. She presses her thumb against the face in the photograph and whispers words only she can hear. The horses stir in the barn as if they too sense the crack forming in the family inside. Amy finally steps into the kitchen, her face calm but her tone carrying steel enough. She looks at Lou and Georgie both. "Your fight is not about here or there. It is about fear. Lou is afraid of losing another person. Georgie is afraid of being trapped by love. You are both right, but if you keep fighting, the ranch will pay the price." Her words land heavy, but true silence answers first, then a sigh from Lou and a soft tear slipping down Georgie's cheek. The storm has not passed, but the lightning has burned itself out for now. From the porch, Claire watches Amy through the glass and feels her chest twist. That same strength, that same kindness. It is like seeing Marion again, and it hurts like memory and hope tangled together. The night deepens, the stars begin to climb, and Heartland breathes in the dark, carrying the weight of old wounds and new secrets that are only beginning to unfold. Night does not last long at Heartland. The ranch wakes with the sound of wind before the first light reaches the hills. It begins as a low whistle through the trees, then builds into a roar strong enough to rattle loose boards on the barn. The storm Jack warned about has come faster than anyone thought. Amy jolts awake to the crash of a feed barrel rolling across the yard. She throws on her jacket and runs outside. Spartan calls out with a sharp snort, kicking at his stall. The air tastes of dust and rain, and the sky is split with silver light. Jack is already in the yard, pulling at ropes to secure the gates. His hat nearly flies away, but he does not pause. Lou rushes from the porch, still tying her coat. Georgie follows barefoot, her hair whipping in the wind. The family moves without needing words. Each one knows what must be done when the ranch is in danger. Amy pulls open the barn doors as the horses panic against the thunder. She speaks low and steady, her voice a calm thread in the chaos. Easy now, easy, Spartan follows her lead, steadying the younger horses that stamp and toss their heads. Claire steps into the storm, clutching a lantern, the flame nearly dying in the wind. Her face is pale, but her eyes are steady. She shouts over the thunder, "Tell me what to do, Jack," points to the south pen, "Take the lantern, and check the fence. If it breaks, the herd will scatter." Claire runs without hesitation, boots sinking in the mud. The photo of Marion is still tucked in her pack, but in this moment, she belongs not as a guest, but as part of the fight. The storm slams harder. Rain comes in sheets, blinding the yard. A tree branch cracks and falls near the drive, shaking the ground. Lou yells for Katie to stay inside while she and Georgie grab buckets to clear water. Seeping into the feed room, the ranch is alive with noise, hooves pounding, thunder, rolling winds, screaming, but at the center of it, Amy keeps her voice calm, guiding the horses one by one until the panic eases. The trust she has built over years is the anchor that holds when everything else bends, when the worst of the storm passes. The ranch lies soaked and broken. A section of fence is down. The roof of the shed is torn half open and the yard is littered with branches. Jack leans on the gate, breathing hard. Lou wipes mud from her face. Georgie's hands are raw from pulling ropes. Amy strokes Spartan's neck, whispering thanks. Claire returns drenched, holding a piece of snapped fence post. Her eyes meet Amy's, and in the flash of lightning that still lingers, it feels like a message left unsaid. Not of strangers, but of two lives circling closer. The storm has passed, but its mark remains, and with it a quiet sense that harder trials are on the horizon. Morning comes gray and heavy, as though the storm left its weight behind the ranch. Smells of wet earth and broken wood. A thin fog clings to the pastures, hiding the scars until you step closer. Amy moves slowly through the yard, her boots sinking into mud. She checks Spartan first, running her hand down his neck and legs. Relief floods her when she finds no injury. But the other horses show signs of strain. A bay gelding limps, favoring his front leg. A young foal trembles at every shift of wind. Amy whispers steady words, her voice worn but warm. The animal's calm, but the damage is clear. Heartland is hurt, and the family will have to decide how to heal it. Jack surveys the south pasture where the fence has collapsed completely. The storm dragged half the posts into the creek, and the water runs high from the night's rain. He kneels, pressing a hand against the soil, and mutters to himself, "This won't hold if another storm comes." His words are meant for his own ears, but Lou hears them. She carries a clipboard already listing costs for lumber, nails. Labor every dollar is another fight with the town. Budget every delay is another whisper that maybe Heartland cannot stand as strong as before. Her shoulders tighten as she writes, yet she hides the worry when Georgie approaches with a question. Should we cancel the clinic with Tim? The thought of letting down the rodeo sponsor burns like failure. Tim bursts onto the scene, full of energy, as if the storm never touched him. He talks fast about repairing the fence by weekend, about calling in favors from neighbors, about turning the setback into an opportunity. He even dares to suggest charging spectators for the clinic to raise money. Jack shoots him a glare sharp enough to silence him for a breath, but only a breath. Tim lives on schemes and storms never change that still beneath his noise. His hands are already pulling debris, his jacket soaked with mud. He may be reckless, but he is family, and family bleeds together when the land bleeds. Claire lingers at the edge of the barn, clutching her backpack again. She has worked since dawn, hauling water, sweeping mud from the stalls, yet she feels the line between guest and kin like a wall. Her gaze drifts to Amy, who kneels beside the limping gelding, examining the leg with practiced care. Amy looks up, catches Claire watching, and offers a small nod without words. It is not permission, it is recognition, a quiet signal that she belongs here, even if only for a moment. Claire steps forward, kneeling to hold the lead rope steady, while Amy wraps the leg. The horse breathes easier between them. And for an instant, Claire feels part of something she has longed for but never Known as the fog lifts, the ranch stands raw and wounded but alive. The storm has revealed more than broken fences. It has shown cracks in the family's balance. Lou burdened by duty, Georgie torn by choice, Jack fighting the years, Tim chasing plans, and Amy carrying it all on her shoulders. And now, a stranger tied to Marion lingers at the center. Heartland has faced storms before, but this one has left questions that no hammer or rope can mend. The day begins not with relief, but with the sense that the hardest work is not fixing wood or roof, but holding the family together. Before the next storm arrives, the sun dips low behind the hills, casting long shadows across the fields and turning puddles from the storm into mirrors of fire. The ranch is quieter now, but the silence feels watchful, not restful. Inside the barn, Amy brushes Spartan, her strokes slow and steady, yet her mind circles the stranger who has stepped into their lives. She keeps seeing that photograph of Marion the way. Claire's hands trembled when she offered it, as if it carried more weight than paper should carry. Amy wants to ask, but fear knots her words. What secret could connect her mother to this girl she has never met? Claire stands just outside the barn doors, the fading light painting her face in half shadow. She looks as if she wants to step inside, yet she holds back, clutching the backpack like a shield. Jack notices her hesitation and joins her without hurry. His voice is low. Marion helped a lot of people, he says, sometimes in ways the rest of us never knew. Claire's eyes shine at the name, but she does not answer. Jack studies her long enough to see the truth she carries, but he does not press. Not yet. He has learned that some stories surface only when they are ready. While at supper, the family gathers around the table, still muddy and tired. Lou tries to speak of numbers and repairs, but the words fall flat. Georgie barely listens, her mind already pulling beyond the ranch. Tim fills the silence with talk of his clinic and rodeo dreams, while Jack breaks bread as though food alone can keep them tied. Amy finally sets her fork down. The storm did more than tear fences. She says it showed us how close we are to breaking apart. Silence settles again, heavy as the storm clouds that left hours ago. Everyone feels the truth, but no one dares to answer. Later, when the dishes are cleared, Amy finds Claire on the porch staring at the stars. The night air is cold, but Claire sits still, her fingers tight around the photo. Amy steps beside her. The quiet stretches. Then Amy asks, "Why do you have this picture?" Claire breathes sharp, as if the question steals air from her chest. She turns the photo over, tracing Marion's name with her finger, and finally speaks. "She saved my mother years ago, saved her when no one else would. My mother told me if I was ever lost, if I ever had nowhere left to go, I should find Marion Fleming." Amy feels her heart twist. Her mother gone for so many years, still guiding strangers to their door. Claire's voice shakes when she adds, "I thought maybe here I could find who I am, but I am not sure I belong." The words hang between them like smoke. Amy looks at her not as a guest, not as a problem, but as someone carrying a piece of Marion's spirit. She says quietly, "If my mom led you here, then you belong more than you think." Their eyes meet in the silver glow of the night, and for a heartbeat, it feels as though Marion herself has returned in the bond forming between them. But hidden in that bond is a shadow, a question of what truth still waits untold, and how it might change everything. Heartland believes it has weathered the storm yet. The real storm is just beginning, and it beats not in the sky but in the bloodlines and secrets of the family itself. The ranch lies quiet under the weight of midnight. The air is cool and damp, carrying the scent of wet grass and wood smoke from the loft window. Amy watches the paddock where the horses shift restlessly, as though they too sense a change pressing closer. She cannot shake Claire's words. They turn in her mind like the wheel of a wagon on a rutted road. Marion saved my mother. If that is true, then every day spent with Claire is another step into a past Amy thought she understood, but maybe never fully knew. Inside the house, Lou cannot sleep. She moves through her papers again, running numbers until the ink blurs. She tells herself she is preparing for the next council meeting, but deep down she knows the storm inside their family is not one she can solve with budgets or votes. Georgie lies awake in her room, staring at the ceiling, her dreams of competition fight against the pull of home. The storm outside has passed, but the storm inside her still rages. Jack sits by the fire, half asleep, his hat tilted over his eyes. He has seen this before. Secrets enter quietly, but they never leave quietly. Claire rests in the small room above the kitchen, her backpack at the foot of the bed. The photo of Marion is beside her pillow. She traces the outline of the woman's face with her finger until her hand trembles. She wants to tell Amy everything, but fear grips her throat. How do you speak truth when truth can change the very shape of a family? She whispers to the dark. Marion promised me Heartland was where I would be safe. Yet she knows safety is not always peace.